What is going on, guys? In this video, we are going to talk a little bit about my friend named Bitcoin. But first, before the sun completely goes down, let's just admire the pink sky. All right, cool. We are good to go. First of all, let me show you guys what is going on. So the biggest thing happening on planet Earth is the Investors Conference. All right, this is June 19th in Miami, Florida. And we are going to be talking about nothing other than cryptocurrency, real estate, taxes, and asset protection. So if you don't understand what those are, you need to be there. If you don't understand what to do with those in 2021, if you're worried about inflation, you're worried about the crypto bull market, you're worried about the real estate bubble, you are worried about building a business and massive wealth and then losing it all one day, you need to be there, because we're going to be talking about all those things and much more on that $40 million yacht right there with about 200 other entrepreneurs that are all making 6, 7, 8, even 9 figures in their businesses. So it's going to be epic. All right, we're also going to have a cigar roller. We're going to have, I believe, a juice stand. We're paying a stupid amount of money for a drone show. Going to have some models and going to have some awesome information as well. So would love for you guys to be there. I'm going to talk about a few things. Paul, great question. Frankie, that's awesome, man. You're in the same building. That's cool. I hope you got a nice view like this as well, because almost every night since I've lived here, it has been ridiculous views with the afterglow on this side. It's been awesome. Feel free to drop some questions in below. Paul, I am going to get into that. Absolutely. So first of all, some major news about Bitcoin. Honestly, the news could not be better about Bitcoin. We have David Rubenstein getting into cryptocurrency, and he believes it is truly here to stay as a store of value. Former U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers said that it is also digital gold, right? And actually, if you really listen to, what like the Treasury and what these central banks are worried about, is they're not worried about Bitcoin, right? Because we're going to talk about this a lot in the video about how Bitcoin is actually not a currency. The name is very deceiving. It is actually property, right? So the central banks and the Federal Reserve are not actually trying to compete against Bitcoin. They are coming out with their own digital dollar. Now, I don't know what that means for the original dollar, right? But they are not worried about Bitcoin because they don't see it as a currency. And the reason why is because, at least in the United States, okay, it is considered property. So every single time that you exchange Bitcoin for anything, right? If you use Bitcoin to buy this water bottle, that is a taxable event. So not only are you going to pay any type of sales tax, but now you're paying capital gains tax every time you're utilizing Bitcoin as a currency. So, and it really doesn't make sense on how it is built to be used as a currency. It could be used as some type of stability in the future, but a lot of people get that confused when they're first getting into cryptocurrency. Like, hey, isn't Bitcoin supposed to be used to go to the grocery store? Like, why can't I use it in Starbucks? I'm not going to buy it until it's actually used in mainstream like retail stores. You need to really switch your head from that to thinking it as a digital store of wealth, a digital asset. Now, some bigger news are these two. Okay, so we've got Carl Icahn. Not sure if you guys know him, but he is massively wealthy. He's talking about putting 1.5 billion into crypto. And then I never really thought this was happening, but I said this about Mark Cuban. I said this about Jim Cramer. I said this about Kevin O'Leary. Ray Dalio has officially bought Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. Ray Dalio, one of the biggest hedge fund managers of all time, officially, and after hating on it for forever, well, just like everyone else that I just mentioned, has officially bought Bitcoin. That is a really, really big deal, right? And I'm really I think I mentioned this in the previous live video that people like these guys that are so well respected in the investment space, especially like Warren Buffett, right? They know what they know, right? And they make judgments on Bitcoin and crypto without actually doing a lot of research into it. And they don't start to do like research and spending time doing due diligence until it becomes so big and they get asked a zillion questions on the news. And then they decide to do some due diligence to really understand what it is at its core. And then they end up turning around, right? Like almost all of them. So that's really, really cool. Like, try to avoid the noise that we continually hear every bull market about China banning this and stopping that and blah, blah, blah. That's literally what Bitcoin is about, is like giving the power back to the people, right? Decentralizing finance and allowing people to freely exchange and hold their wealth in something that's not absolutely getting crushed every single year, like the US dollar. So that's next. What I want to talk about is Bitcoin. Really, here's the best thing to understand is like this is just a digital way to preserve wealth. Okay, so if you are thinking about Bitcoin and you're thinking about, okay, what would I use this for? Here's what you would use it for, right? While the US dollar is getting infinitely printed, right? So we increased money supply in 2020 by over 33%. That's M1, and then M2 by 23%. And you can see just how ridiculous this graph is after you know what, which I can't mention the name, but after you know what happened, we infinitely printed the US dollar, and it was already pretty bad prior to this. And here's what happens, and no one understands this until they listen to this type of a video, is this is what happens to the US dollar, right? You will still have $1 US in your bank account, I promise you, okay? It'll still say 1 USD, okay? But the thing is it purchases less goods, okay? So this is in 1971, just how far the US dollar has come down from, let's say it's, worth 100 pennies. Now it's really worth 19 pennies, right? And that's just over the last 50 years. So, and you can see that in circulation, as we print more and more money, that's exactly what happens, is it gets devalued. And then the reason is because there is too much money chasing too few of goods. Now, and that's how inflation happens, because it's all supply and demand based, right? If there's too much supply and there's not enough demand and not enough growing amount of goods, then there's too much money chasing too few of goods. Well, guess what? That brings up the price of goods, whether you like it or not. So you will still have your $1 US. You will still have X amount of money in your bank account, but now that will go buy less goods. Now you're probably asking, holy crap, what do I do? Or what's even a normal rate? A normal rate is like 2 to 3% a year. That's what inside the United States we aim for the US dollar. And the reason is because it is good to slightly inflate the dollar so it doesn't incentivize people to spend more money. Or so it does incentivize people to spend more money, because if your money was going up in value, you'd be like, hey, I'm just going to hold on to this instead of going on to this vacation because it's going to be worth more tomorrow, right? But since you know that your money's going to be worth less tomorrow, then you're more incentivized to spend it. And here's what is going on. I'm not sure if you've been to this website, but usdebtclock.org, what's happening, and there's a lot going on here, right? The total national debt up here is $28 trillion, okay? And it's quickly rising. You could go into a lot of things, right, about the U.S. workforce and labor and personal debt and mortgages and credit card debt and all that stuff. But this is what I'm talking about right here is in 2000, the M2 money supply was 4.7 trillion. Right now, presently, it's 20.5 trillion. Okay, so we had between a 4 and a 5x of the money supply in just the last 21 years. And like I mentioned earlier, it is very, very quickly growing. So this is what I am trying to, and this is what I've been trying to make people understand for a while, is just like how you should think about. So like separate Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies. Okay, just draw a line down the middle right now. Okay, Bitcoin is a store of value, and that is what it's going to continually be used for. And it is actually something called disinflationary. So it is not, it's deflationary if you look at how much people are buying and then moving into wallets and moving offline. So in that sense, it's deflationary. On the sense of its supply, it releases 900 Bitcoin a day. And then in, about 3 years from now, it'll cut that supply in half. And then it'll release 450 Bitcoin a day. And then 4 years from then, and it's actually not exactly 4 years, it's like 3 years and 10 months or whatever, it'll cut the supply in half again, and it'll cut the supply in half and again. And that'll happen for over 100 years until the 21 million Bitcoin are completely released. And that set amount is going to release over that amount of time, no matter how many people are mining it, right? If every single person on planet Earth started mining Bitcoin, there is not going to be more Bitcoin. Okay, the only thing that would happen is it's more difficult to actually mine Bitcoin. Okay, so it would be more competitive, and people would get less Bitcoin. So you got to realize that the supply is something called disinflationary, which like really it's just like decreasing over time, but there's still a supply coming out. But what's crazy is people like this and people like Grayscale and people like PayPal and Square and MicroStrategy and all these companies, they're actually buying more than the supply a day. So we're in a massive supply shock. And actually I'm not sure if it's still true to this day, but about like 4 or 5 months ago, Grayscale, which is that Bitcoin trust where you can go buy BTC, right? And they charge like 2% a year premium to hold Bitcoin. They were buying more than 900 a day on average. So like there was one, I'm not sure, it could still be true to this day, but there was one entity that was buying more than 900 a day. So that is insane, right? That's a very, very good sign for Bitcoin. Let me turn down the sun here so I do not get sunburned, So that's what's going on with Bitcoin. That's how you need to look at it. All these altcoins, right? Those are up for completely other discussions as far as what their use cases is for. And but what you need to understand is like Bitcoin is completely separate, right? Look at Bitcoin as digital gold, as a store of wealth. Look at altcoins as as programmable money. You can do things, you can build things on top of them. There's so many possibilities and so many use cases for them. And we'll start to go into those like individually in another video. But I wanted to bring that to your attention. Listen, Bitcoin is being classified as property, which is a human right to own property. And most people use property to, number one, live in, but secondly, to store their wealth in. And you are going to have no other option but to do that. And I really do believe that Bitcoin is the best place to store wealth. It's highly transferable. It's unhackable. Like gold, we don't know the actual daily supply of gold. And if the demand dramatically increased, people would melt down their jewelry. They would go mine more gold. They would go, Elon would go grab 10 tons of gold from some planet, right? There's been tons of studies about all that, but I'm not going to go into how much gold is sitting on these planets around Earth. It's a little bit far-fetched, but you get my point, right? There's nothing as predictable and transferable. If I wanted to go transfer $100 million worth of Bitcoin to my cousins in Europe right now, I could do that in the next 45 minutes and pay a couple of dollars. If I wanted to ship them $100 million worth of gold, well, that would cost me at least millions of dollars to ship over there, and it would take a few weeks. right? So I really do believe that as we move and this is also something to be aware of, right? I've talked about this a lot about what is the number one quality of an investor. In my view, it is awareness. So being aware of what's going on. What is going on? Well, technology and the internet and all these things are exponentially growing and not slowing down, and that is helping globalization. Okay? And what is happening, the global economies are working together. People are doing everything digitally. I mean, I remember like my parents running businesses when I was growing up and having massive file cabinets, right? I don't have one file cabinet in my entire condo, and we have 40 employees in one business, and then we run a fund with 140 investors, and I have 0 papers. I mean, everything's turning digital, whether you like it or not. So what you got to realize is, why would money and wealth not turn digital? It pretty much already is. And I also heard that there's a thing called fractional reserve banking. So what you guys need to understand is what the bank does with your money, right? If you go store it in cash, not only are you going to get absolutely burned from this and from all of the money printing that is going on, right? This is not going to slow down, because anyone in the administration has no incentive to slow down. They have incentives to continually just pump up the money supply so the economy looks good and they get reelected and they can do, whatever they want to do, right? They're completely incentivized to not stop the money printer. So I don't see this slowing down. I really do believe that Bitcoin is the best way to store your wealth. And exactly, Paul, scoop it up while it's low. That is what I have been doing. And I also, for most people, okay, I'll get into some a little bit of a higher strategy on taxes and stuff, but for most people, the best thing to do is just a dollar cost average into the market, right? So that's also called time diversification, which means that you buy over time, right? So when you make money, right, and it comes into your bank account, right, it gets ACH in your bank account, then I really do believe you should go spend 10% on self-education, and then at least starting at 10% into investments. And you decide whatever X amount you want to, allocate to Bitcoin and crypto, and you set that up on an automatic buy. So on Coinbase, you can go on there, or Binance US, or I believe actually I don't know about Binance.com because I have not done it on there. I know for a fact Coinbase and Binance US, because I do that, right? You can automatically have them pull from your bank account and buy crypto on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly basis, and just consistently buy over time, right? I really do believe that is the best option for the majority of the people, and to just start with Bitcoin, get your hands and feet wet and understand it a little bit better, and just see how comfortable you feel with buying it over time and protecting your own wealth. I really do think it's that should be an absolute right for people, is to not get absolutely demolished by this. And that's what the wealthy understand, and that's what the poor and a lot of the middle class don't understand. So wealthy, these types of people, Carl Icahn, they're putting money into assets. And the reason why they're putting money into assets is because inflation continually erodes away their wealth, right? So they need to figure out, okay, what is the best way to keep up with inflation, and it is to buy assets, right? So that is one of the biggest things. And now here's what you can do. If you want to not pay taxes, you can, for crypto, right? You're going to have to pay taxes if you exchange it for anything. So if you send Bitcoin to buy a water bottle, this iPhone, you trade Bitcoin into Ethereum, whatever it is, that's a taxable event at that point in time. So if you want to avoid taxes, right, because Bitcoin grows over 200% a year since inception, and there's no denying that, 200% plus on average per year. People say, oh, well, it has too much volatility to be a store of value. Well, here's the thing, my man, is it has considerable volatility and consistently to the upside, because it grows at over 200% a year. So I don't know who doesn't like to over 200% a year. And also, what you need to understand is when there's a new asset class, okay, it is very similar to a baby. Okay, like a baby gets super cranky at times, right? It'll be crying and screaming one moment, and then it'll be super happy and joyful the next moment. That's how early stage asset classes are. Once they get more capital into them, which crypto only has like 2 trillion in it right now. Once it has considerable amount more capital, which I think it'll be closer to 7 trillion by the end of the year, the volatility is going to ease, right? And then Bitcoin can sit into that place where it possibly could be used as some type of stability with currencies, right? They could, instead of pegging the US dollar against gold like they did, before the 70s, they could peg, stable coins against Bitcoin. And then that can be used to transfer very quickly. I don't see that happening for a while, but I could see that happening. And I'll talk about the tax thing for the last thing, right? So you can just buy Bitcoin over time, consistently buy it, store it somewhere. I like to store it on Voyager and Celsius. That's where I'm earning the most amount of interest, depending on the time, right? Depending on what they're offering, because they'll change their bonus structures and things based on quite a few things: their business model, the economy, the market, blah blah blah. So I will store it on there because it's paying me interest, right? I'm earning usually between 5 and 7.5% on my Bitcoin, right? So I'm being paid interest. I'm not selling it. It's not a taxable event. And what you can do is just take a loan against the Bitcoin. That's what I did just for the down payment on my Urus. I'm like, I don't want to. I think I bought it 3 months ago or whatever. I'm like, why would I go put $250,000 into a car right now or sell Bitcoin, which is appreciating at over 200% a year, to go buy something that's likely to depreciate? So I'm like, hey, let's just use an open-ended lease under the business, and for the down payment, I'll take a loan against Bitcoin, and I'll still have the Bitcoin. It's still appreciating, right? And I'll just go be able to buy the Urus with really no money down, paying a small amount of interest, which I can then write off. And then I never am paying the taxable gains because there's no taxable event from the Bitcoin, right? So that's what you can do, is just never sell the Bitcoin. You can take loans against it when you do need fresh capital to go do something like that, right? And I also understood the opportunity cost of if I put $250,000 into crypto towards the beginning of the bull market and held it, right? That 250,000 is not 250,000. It's likely over 2 million. Right? It's not normal, or it's not abnormal whatsoever for the top 50 by market cap to do an 8x over the bull market. I mean, Bitcoin did 6.5x in 7 months until a few weeks ago when it had a nice correction. So, which I do believe it's going to climb back, just like you saw in my last video, to 6 figures in 2021. So you can take loans against the crypto. You can go use it for whatever you need to use it for. Maybe you want to go buy a house. Maybe you want to go buy an island. Maybe you have that much Bitcoin, I'm not sure. Maybe you want to go buy an iPhone, right? You can do that. You can write off the interest, assuming it is some type of an expense. Your accountant should code it as an interest expense. And then what you can do is you can just consistently take loans against it for the rest of your life. And when you have life insurance, right? You go get some life insurance, and the death benefit will pay the loan off when you die. And you still have the Bitcoin the entire time. You never sold it. You leveraged against it slightly. You don't want to over leverage against it. There is things called over leverage, and yeah, you never get rid of it, and you store your wealth and you compound. I really do believe we are at the biggest transition in the history of wealth and finances and money. There is just so much going on with how much money we're printing and how assets are changing. And like I talked about, globalization with economies now working together and the internet, and it's a really, really big deal. I don't think we're going to see so much changing with money and investments again, uh, possibly ever. And I think that, and any type of change is an opportunity. And right now is an opportunity. And I honestly feel like pretty obligated to just share my thoughts like this on what I think is the best thing to do with like storing wealth, right? So I think Bitcoin and real estate are the best ways to store your wealth. And I will never consistently hold a large. I know a lot of people. Here's another thing: if you guys hold a lot of cash, you got to realize that you are choosing to hold something that has an absolute guaranteed loss. So, and also that is an investment as well. Like cash, whether you like it or not, cash is an investment. So you're just guaranteeing that you lose money. And here's the thing: is like the I don't think I have a great example for this. Let's see what I don't know if I'm going to find accurate numbers on this, but this is just the consumer price index. Let's see if we can find. In April, it rose 0.8%, seasonally adjusted, rising 4.2% over the last 12 months, which is pretty high. Anyways, I'm not going to go into read all these articles with you guys, but let's just see in 2021. Let's see if there's a decent gas increased 49%. I guess that's why everyone was going to buy gas the other day. Energy increased 5%, electricity 3%, natural gas. Oh, we were just on this. I saw a lot about like lumber and like different piece of supplies, obviously like gas, commodities, groceries. Things are just skyrocketing in price, like out of nowhere. And it's not out of nowhere, it's out of somewhere, which the somewhere is this, right? All the money printing that we've been doing. So you guys should stay cautious when you go into the grocery store, or you're going to buy gas, or like even things like technology over time, and just watch how the price increases, and especially over the next few years. Because of what we've just done here, that is happening. I also believe that's why we saw the V-shaped recovery of the stock market, is because we just injected so much money. Because when they inject money into the economy, what most of the time, a lot of the capital they're buying financial assets, and that just feeds ultimately into the stock market. So that I really do believe that's why I think the stock market just completely inflated. There's no, I mean, I don't think we've ever seen, we're still in a recession, by the way. I don't think we've ever seen that big of a climb, that big of a climb in the stock market during a recession ever. I don't, don't quote me on that, but that was absolutely absurd. And I really do think it is from just all the money printing. So anyways, want to share my thoughts. Would you suggest buying Bitcoin anonymously? I mean, what's the point of anonymously buying it? That's what I'm like, for tax purposes. I mean, if you want to do that, if you're worried about like that, just go buy it and just go store it on a, I mean, you can come, I don't know. I'm sure there's ways to anonymously buy it, but I don't know. There's plenty of exchanges that have no KYC on them. Not in the US, but just outside the US, you just use a VPN. And I'm sure you could buy it anonymously and then just go store it on a ledger or in cold storage. And that's the thing, like if China bans it or the US tries to ban it, which I really do not see happening, that would just dramatically increase the demand for Bitcoin and crypto. Um, there's no way that they can't just pull it off of your and they also can't know what you have in a hard wallet, right? There's no way that they can know. Any transaction over $10,000 is reported to the IRS. So if you are trading more than 10,000, you're moving more than 10,000 on a US regulated exchange that has, KYC, which all of them do, or they wouldn't be in the US. They wouldn't be allowed in the US. The IRS will know about it. So if you're talking about for taxes, you do want to report your taxes. Yeah, I have. I mean, Shane, I've just exchanged on the smart chain. So I've exchanged Cake and Doge and a few and BNB and a few small caps. So absolutely, yeah. I like smart chain. I like Binance. I think that Binance is probably. By the way, if you're new to the live, we're holding an investors conference June 19th in Miami, Florida on a $40 million yacht talking crypto, taxes, real estate, and asset protection. We'd love to have you there. Sure. Yeah, we're sitting at 1.7 trillion. But Binance, the smart chain, has actually a lot of volume with Pancake Swap. 24-hour volume is well above more than double Uniswap. 2.1 trillion. 21% of the market. And then you've got the BSC down here as well. So it is pretty much already starting to dominate the DEXs, which is decentralized exchanges, which is so so this can be a whole nother discussion, but I think Binance, like BNB, is like buying Amazon during the .com crash. During this bear market, I am going to scoop a considerable amount of coins that I really believe in, and one of them is Binance. And this is one of the reasons, because their DEX is so quickly growing, and I believe in Binance Smart Chain. I believe in their team with CZ. They're pretty incredible how quickly they come out with things with oh yeah, all these people are tokenizing all these other things. Let's go tokenize Tesla stock, and they just do that, and they just adapt and change so quickly. And then just the fact that it's even outside of the DEX, if you go to the spot, they absolutely dominate it. Not even close. 31 billion, okay, compared to the next, which is Coinbase, is 5 billion in the last 24 hours. So not even close. And then you go look at the last thing, which is the derivatives market, and absolutely dominating it. 69. Is that? Yeah, 69 billion to 26 billion. I mean, it's not even close. So Binance has the absolute most attention. Anytime they want to release something, they'll just smash everything. So I think they have too much attention, too much momentum, and too great of a team to not be scooping the heck out of their coin while it's 300 some bucks right now. And just like I said, into the bear market, the altcoins lost 97.6% of their value during the last bear market, and I am going to be buying the dippity dip. Also, initiative, awesome. Heavy into crypto, cheddar. I think we're on the way back up, but there is some technicals that I am waiting to play out, which I'm about to go over in the inner circle, which is just a group that that I manage on. There's a course, and then like I post updates on and market overviews. But there's some technicals that I am watching closely that if they happen, I am going to take a little bit off of the table for sure. But so I do believe we're still in a bull market, but I am watching a few signals pretty closely. They're not. It would likely happen. It depends on price action, but it would likely happen over the next like 10 days. So I am just going to continue to monitor that, but I do think that we are still in a bull market. I still do feel good buying right now. I have been buying a lot over the last 2 weeks, and I'm about to get off of here and go eat and go buy more, to be honest. Shane, you cannot, unfortunately. I'm very excited for like this stuff. This is like, I wish this was in the U.S. because I would use this instantly because I would literally save. I mean, we would have saved on transaction fees. If we saved 2% on $1 million a month, we would save 20 grand a month. And that's what this company is doing. They are, all right, I'll show you just for business. So you can pay with crypto through a merchant. So instead of like using Stripe, they actually like look a lot like Stripe, but they somehow completely get rid of like fraudulent payments, and they updated their site. So I'm not sure where. I'm pretty sure you can use this over in Europe right now, and a few different countries. It's just not in the U.S. Let's go up to their Y. All right. Anyways, well, they took the transaction fees from right here from 1%. They have eliminated fraud, and the speed. You get all your payments the next day. So that's really valuable. If I had fees at 1%, that would be awesome. But there's things like this that I love. But unfortunately, no, we cannot accept crypto. Like the only reason why we don't accept it is because we can't do it on a recurring basis. So like, if you could somehow send me the correct amount of BNB and I didn't have to have someone monitor that every month, then I would absolutely accept it. But it's just not so much. And yeah, Kyle, that's I still do really like Cardano. It has been one of my favorite projects for a long time. But they have like their most important and most anticipated news and updates as far as their main net, which allows like the true network effect to play out with other tokens to be built on top of their platform in August. So like I am going to just be consistently buying as it's going down. I bought some 2 days ago. I'm going to buy some more tonight. But I am a fan still. I do believe in Charles Hoskinson. I believe in their whole team. And I also really do like their like why behind it. Like they're really working on like, that's the other thing about crypto is it is really sad to look at the other countries that just get absolutely slaughtered by their currency getting devalued and extremely more than the United States of America. And it is really, I mean, think about that. If you worked your entire life for $15 an hour, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, you were actually working for 3 cents an hour, and now you can't buy anything. That's really sad. And Cardano's looking to change that for all of Africa. So they're looking to like put like financial and banking infrastructure there and actually like utilize Cardano for the currency. So that is really, really cool. Kuma is, I'm pretty sure, getting crushed. I think there's, so Shane, there's a link in the description. Oh, wait. Yeah, Kuma is at 3. So I was buying at 7 and 8. So that was also, so what happens is, like, the smaller cap coins that you go, there's no way. I swear to God, it said that. There's no way. Oh, I guess it could be. 595. That is crazy that it's that high. I thought it was still over the thousands. So here's what happens with any type of volatility. Bitcoin actually has the least amount of volatility because it has the most amount of capital in it. The further down you get on these by market cap, the more risk they have and the more volatile they are when the market tanks. So when the market drops by 56%, right, the small caps are going to go down by 80, 90%. And then these larger caps are going to go down by like 50, maybe 60, maybe 70%, right? So like the volatility, they get higher and higher as you go all the way down the market cap list, which it goes, you know, I don't know how much they have on here. I mean, there's 10,000 cryptocurrencies, so they can go quite low. They go to the point where no one even has data on them. So that's to be expected. Honestly, all my small caps are down considerably compared to, you know, a month ago or whatever. But I do believe they will head back up. Usually what happens is Bitcoin rises, the large caps rise, and then the small caps take off, and then you want to, you know, pull your capital out when you double. Like, that's my rule, is like when you double a position, you just pull half of it out, so you collect your principal back and you let the house money ride. All right, guys, I am going to hop off because I am starving, but and I got a few things to do. So hope you listen to this. If you did not listen to this, listen to the replay, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of things going on with money. First of all, updates with these major players backing crypto, and especially Ray Dalio really blows my mind. And lastly, it's just like all the money printing. It is actually really scary to see what is going on with you know, our currencies, and most people just hold on to cash, and that's why they just get killed. And that's why, like, these guys continue to get, like, the gap just keeps spreading. It's because they understand this. So it's really valuable to understand this, and most importantly, take action on it. And gave you a few tips on taking action. I do believe the best thing is the dollar cost average over time, which means buy on a weekly or monthly basis, and you just set it up one time and it just pulls from your bank account. It's very easy. Anyone can do it. It's just a matter of you actually doing it. Okay? Have a great night. Thanks so much for staying on to the end of the stream, and I will see you guys on June 19th on a yacht with cigars and juice and models and 200 entrepreneurs. And